What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Jets Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we have a major update on who could possibly be the next defensive coordinator and the next offensive coordinator for the New York Jets. So stay tuned throughout this whole thing. We got updates around both sides of football for your New York Jets. But before we dive into it, we actually just started a brand new Packers channel here at Chat Sports, and they challenged us here to a race to 2,000 subscribers, and we already have the early lead here. So if you guys could help me out, I'd love to win this battle against our Packers Report channel. Hit that subscribe button. We just need about 450 of you guys to subscribe today. So hit that subscribe button, lock us in as your go-to New York Jets YouTube channel. All right, so what's the new report around the offensive coordinator position for the New York Jets? Well, it's actually Nick Caley, Rams pass game coordinator, is reportedly the top candidate for the OC job. This was coming in from Jonathan Jones, very tapped-in beat reporter for CBS Sports. So Nick Caley, let's get to know him a little bit. So he is 42 years old. He started his coaching career back in 2005, where he worked for 7 different college programs before 2017 when he got his first NFL job with the Patriots as their tight end coach. And then he was hired in 2023 to be the Rams tight end coach. So that's a little background on Nick Caley. He's worked out with tight ends majority of his NFL career. So, if he is the leading candidate, I love a guy who's coming in from that Sean McVay tree. Obviously, Sean McVay, one of the best offensive minds we have here in the NFL. And Nick Caley, if he reminds me just a little bit of Sean McVay, I would love to take the chance on that. But actually, Sean McVay talked about Nick Caley possibly joining the Jets, and he said this. He says, "I know that's a possibility. He's a special coach. He's done a great job for us. I love everything that this guy is about." And Nick Caley's had some success with the Rams and obviously the Patriots back in 2017. Gronk had some monster years there. Even Aaron Hernandez had great years under Nick Caley. But actually this past season in 2023, Tyler Higbee surpassed several franchise records and milestones with Nick Caley being the tight ends coach over there. So he's got a good track record. He's been a good coach. And honestly, if Sean McVay is talking so highly of him, I would love for the Jets to kind of swing for the fences on this OC hire. But Robert Mays of The Athletic, I thought this was a pretty cool quote, just talking about Nick Caley potentially being the next Jets offensive coordinator. And he says, "When you leave a conversation with Nick, it's kind of like leaving a conversation with Sean McVay." I love that. I mean, just any, good news, good reporting we're getting out there about Nick Caley, and if they're comparing him to Sean McVay, just how he goes about his day-to-day life and how he goes about football. I mean, that's just great news, for him and potentially getting that Jets offensive coordinator job. And, Aaron Wilson also reported this. Leading candidate for Jets offensive coordinator job is Rams tight end coach and passing game coordinator Nick Caley, per multiple league sources. That status isn't expected to change as the process continues in New York. So obviously the Rams could, upgrade him to the offensive coordinator position, and maybe that could entice him to stay with Los Angeles. But Aaron Wilson's reporting that won't be the case. You have the same role with the Los Angeles Rams. So then, let's just say the Jets strike out on Nick Caley. He just wants to go back with the Los Angeles Rams. Where could they turn? So you do still have Mark Brunell, former NFL quarterback, was a QB coach with the Detroit Lions this past season. Then you also have a guy like Scott Turner, who was brought in after the Raiders fired Luke Getsky this past offseason. So Scott Turner, maybe even bring in Norv Turner to be a consultant as well. But then you also have Anthony Lynn. Now, I think Nick Caley by far would be my number one choice, but not a bad fallback option is Mark Brunell. And actually coming up in just a second, we'll list another option at OC for you guys here. But I'll ask you guys this. Drop a name for me down below in the comment section right now. Who do you want the Jets to hire as their next offensive coordinator? Let me know your thoughts down below. If you have a name that I haven't thought of just yet, please let that name be known down below in the comment section. For me, right now as it stands, it would have to be Nick Caley. I think that's the safest option here. Also with tremendous upside, I would roll with him, but that's just my opinion on the situation. But we also do have a new update coming in from Josina Anderson, and we'll give credit to Josina here. She has been very tapped in throughout this whole kind of head coach, offense coordinator, defensive coordinator search. And she says, also, I'm told Lions pass game coordinator Tanner Engstan name is already involved in substantive discussions for the pending Jets offensive coordinator role. And we will do a video tomorrow deep diving into him. But I do want to kick it to the defensive side of the football here. Steve Wilks, Josina saying Steve Wilks' name has also come up in discussions for the Jets defensive coordinator vacancy, per league sources. We will see how it goes as talks unfold. So, I think this defensive coordinator job for the Jets also got a lot more enticing, as Aaron Glenn said yesterday during his press conference he won't call plays this upcoming season. I actually love that. He can focus on just being a football coach instead of, obviously playing favorites to his side of the field, which would be defense. He just wants to let his coordinators run the show on both sides, and he kind of acts as that CEO style of head coach. And I agree with him. And Aaron Glenn, this is what he had to say on it, saying it won't call the defense. I want to be the best head coach you can find. In order for me to do that, I think I need to manage the game. So that obviously, I think that's great news for the Jets. I love his mindset heading into this whole thing where, I think a lot of these, coordinators that get hired, they're expected to just completely change that side of the football. And, obviously, I thought Aaron Glenn coming in, the Jets defense will take a massive step up, but he feels perfectly comfortable hiring a defensive coordinator, hiring an offensive coordinator. They control that side of the ball. And then Aaron Glenn can just truly be a head football coach for the New York Jets. But let's talk about Steve Wilks here, as he is the leading candidate to be the next Jets defensive coordinator. Now, he was most recently with the San Francisco 49ers back in 2023 when they did make a Super Bowl, and he's got a lengthy history of, where he's been in the league. But over the past about 8 years, he was with the Niners, like I said, back in 2023 as their DC. He did fill in as an interim head coach with the Carolina Panthers back in 2022, 2019, Browns defensive coordinator, and he was the head coach for the Arizona Cardinals when they did unfortunately go 3-13 back in 2018, and then he was with the Carolina Panthers back in 2017. But specifically this last year with the San Francisco 49ers when he was DC, he led one of the best defenses in the National Football League. Now, if you ask Niner fans how do you feel about Steve Wilks, they weren't the biggest fans of him. And I think a big reason why the defensive numbers look so good is just they had blue chippers at all three levels. I mean, you got Bosa, Fred Warner at the linebacker position. There was all types of talent on this defense, but still, they rated out very, very well. Yards per game, 8th. Pass yards per game, 14th. Rush yards, 3rd in the league. And they were a top 5 scoring defense in the National Football League. So, in terms of the Jets hiring Steve Wilks, I would do it. And honestly, if you could get a staff and Nick Caley, Steve Wilks, and Aaron Glenn, I think that would be a great decision for the New York Jets. We're just going to have to wait and see over the next couple of days if these deals do come to fruition and the Jets do hire those two guys as their coordinators. But I'll ask you guys this, over-under, 7.5 wins next season for the New York Jets. How are you feeling? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic heading into this next season? I think they'll be right around that. Probably have them 8-9. Great season for the Jets would be like 10-7 next season, but I could also easily see a 7-10, 6-11 season. But you guys let me know. Take a guess for me. Over under 7.5 wins next season for the New York Jets. And I do want to say thank you guys for watching today's show. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Don't miss a thing around the New York Jets. We'll keep you updated and help us reach 2,000 subscribers here on the channel. But we'll see you guys next time. As always, go Jets.